Alright, it's right about the time for the 2016 lists to start rolling around, so I'm your host, Nux, and I will be hosting this 2016 list with, well, one of my favorite type of lists that I somehow have never done before, but they're so much fun to do. My top 10 support characters of the 2016 year. Now, what defines a support character? Well, it's a character that's not the main character, that plays an important role, and alters the entire story, even with not being a main character. Hence, support. Now, with that incredibly complex introduction out of the way, I'd like to begin with telling you that Tsukishima would have been on the list if he would have actually played his role as a support character. Now, there's an issue with sports anime and support characters that the best support character of this is just the MVP, not main character. And that's really not what I'm looking for, because it's way too obvious. Whoever scores more points is technically the better support character. Well, that's not true, because I was also considering to put Nishinoya. Gotsuki! Anyway, enough of that Haikyuu fandom stuff. Let's begin in 10th place with Suwa from Orange. Now, Orange is a series quickly about this girl who gets a letter that was sent from her future self to protect this dude who she likes, because letters folded alike, sort of. Anyway, Suwa has a crush on this girl, but will do anything for her. He is the most selfless character ever. He earned the spot on this list for being purely selfless on helping other people, which is technically the definition for selfless. So I was a little repetitive, but that's how selfless he is. There's nothing else to say about him. He doesn't have any other personality except for being selfless as hell. Alright, let's do 9th place. Top Speedo. So that is technically how you pronounce top speed in Japanese. Japanese 101. Add O's at the end of a lot of words. And no, not top speedo. You have to lower your lower decibel. Top Speedo. Yeah, something more like that. Anyway, getting off topic. For Mikase Keikaku, basically, it's a show about magical girls that have to kill each other. No, that's not a spoiler, because if I don't tell you that, you're never going to watch the show about girls becoming magical girls and collecting candies by doing good deeds. Basically, they have to kill each other now, because whoever gets the least candies every week dies, which sucks balls for them. So they just kill each other, because if someone dies, then the one with the least candies will not. Now, of course, why wouldn't half the magical girls be crazy statists? I don't know either. Anyway, it's impossible to tell you anything about Top Speed without spoiling anything. Literally anything. So if you watch Ikase Keikaku, you understand. If you do not, then, well, I don't know how to say this, and so I won't. Let's do 8th place. Todoroki. That's right. From Boku no Hero Academia. So, why is Todoroki here? What did he add to the series? Well, it's simple. He's the badass the school desperately needed to be better than Katsuki. That's right. The protagonist always had a rival, who's always the top of his class, who was always the best, who was always a jerk for being so good at everything, for being so powerful. It's nice just having a presence like Todoroki, who personally I believe is way more powerful than Bakugo can dream to be. Now, I did not read the manga, so I don't really know, but this guy oozes badassness. He just does. And you feel the ooze of it throughout the class. You know the badass is walking through, and you know Bakugo knows it. And when you know Bakugo knows that Todoroki is a badass, you're happy because Bakugo's a putz. In 7th place, I have Izaya Orihara. Now, Izaya is not higher on the list simply because I've seen a lot of him already. I mean, there have been 60 episodes of Durarara where Izaya has been amazing me every single one of them, and I'm a huge fan. You probably don't even remember that it was going on this winter because, well, in my personal opinion, it did not live up to its prequels, but Izaya did manage to gather a pretty awesome army thing, and I love him. He's definitely the most twisted character on the list, and definitely one of my favorites, and probably always will be. I'm a huge fan of him, and he's totally the opposite of 6th place, who's Kaido. Yeah, Kaido, that's correct. From Saiki Kuso. Saiki Kuso is a total comedy. Protagonist is Saiki. He's a psychic. No one knows he has powers, and he likes to keep it that way, and he is freaking awesome. Now, it's the everyday life of Saiki and how he tries to keep his powers hidden and not noticed. Now, the way the show basically goes is it introduces a lot of really awesome characters that are put in different situations and do awesome, funny stuff. There's Nendo, the completely brain-dead guy, who's the only person that Saiki cannot read his mind because he literally doesn't have one. There's Teruhashi, the girl who thinks she's the most amazing thing in the universe, and since she thinks she's so amazing, she thinks everyone should fall for her because she's just so awesome. Being that her mind is obviously not as perfect as her appearance, Saiki doesn't like her because he could read her mind. Saiki's the only one who doesn't like her, so she likes him. The show goes on with amazing characters, and Kaido's for sure my favorite. Suffers of 8th grader syndrome, wraps his hand up in bandages because he has amazing powers, and he has to fight the evil Dark Reunion. That's Japanese for Dark Reunion, by the way. And he has an epic theme song. The episodes with Kaido make me laugh my ass off because the guy thinks he is so awesome. And I guess I think he's so awesome too, so it's fine. In 5th place, we have Rem. That's correct. 5th place is the time where you all say, why is Rem only 5th place. Or you say, how can you have Rem on this list? Amelia's best girl. Well, Rem's 5th place because the next 4 are just better, okay? And no. Rem's best girl as far as the first season went. If you read the light novel, well, then shut up. I didn't, okay? Good. With that very logically sound explanation out of the way, Rem drove this series way further than anyone else. Yes, in the beginning, maybe he was a little not nice when she killed him 12.5 times, but get past this sort of stuff. Because technically, at this point in the show, she never killed him since he ever keeps going back and whatever, and it's awesome. And so it's really hard for me to tell you anything about Rem without spoiling lots of stuff, because if I spoil ReZero, there's literally no purpose to watch the show. Although technically you've probably watched ReZero here because everyone this year watched ReZero. But I still will try not to spoil anything and say that Rem definitely saved the day. And I don't think anyone can argue that managed to get Subaru to the next checkpoint. That was a super good way of saying nothing. Yeah. Go next. All right. 4th place is Oda Nobunaga, because anime decides we need a badass. Let's call him Oda Nobunaga and make him somehow linked to the actual samurai who lived hundreds of years ago and stuff. Because he was literally the only samurai that everyone knows. Now, in the series called Drifters, where people from epic battles and stuff drift through dimensions into this other one where they have to now save it and stuff or whatever, their motives are unclear. But Nobunaga's there, and he's not the protagonist, which is lovely. And it's only nice because I can put him on this list. Otherwise, I would way rather him be the protagonist than Toyohisa, whose brains are in his sword. So are a lot of other people's brains. But anyway, Nobunaga is very smart, and I definitely do find him funny. I find him funny, and I find him deadly serious at the same time, and he pulls it off so well. They got his character to a T, exactly what it was meant to be. Technically, they got Toyohisa well, too. He was meant to be a stupid barbarian dude who can kill everyone, and he's a stupid barbarian who can kill everyone. But that's not very hard to do. It's hard to get a stoic, serious, frightening, and funny character like Oda Nobunaga all wrapped in one, and honestly they did an amazing job with him. He propels the series in way more ways than one, as he is the driving force of their side, while Toyohisa just sort of goes and kills people. Yeah, whatever. I don't have anything nice to say about Toyohisa at all. Nothing. I don't even like his character design, unlike Nobunaga, who's good. Anyway, let's keep going. 3rd place is Megumin from Konosuba. Before I continue, I'd like to tell you that Megumin is my favorite character on this list. So why isn't she in 1st place? Well, Konosuba's a comedy. And yes, comedies have to have funny characters, and everything has to be funny in a comedy. That's just sort of how it works. It's not like she drives the rest of the series aside from her personal humor forward, even though she is hands down definitely my favorite character and my favorite character on the list. And I love Megumin, and she definitely made it to the top of the list of the female characters, up there next to, you know, Saber and Akatsuki from Log Horizon. But she's 3rd on this list, just because pure awesomeness that doesn't specifically drive the show forward does not make an epic support character, but makes an epic character. So with all that out of the way, since you probably know nothing about Megumin, I will tell you. In Konosuba, the protagonist dies. What? No! He's dead! But don't worry, he's brought to another world, because apparently going to other worlds is a thing. And I'll spare you the hilarious details, because if you have watched it, you know it's that funny. And if you haven't watched it, well, I don't want to ruin anything for you. He ends up in another world, and he has to gather people to join his group, and, well, he gets the greatest band of misfits ever. Darkness, which is Japanese for darkness, by the way. Darkness is a crusader who is very powerful and has bad aim. Yes, not an archer with bad aim, a crusader with bad aim. She can't land hits with her sword, and she loves to take damage, and she is a crazy masochist who honestly could star in a hentai. And then there's Megumin, sheer perfection. Her power is explosion, which is Japanese for explosion, but she can make an explosion so powerful it can annihilate everything. Definitely the most powerful attack of all of their guys altogether. So what's her issue? That's right, she has so much love for her explosion magic. She puts all of her energy into every explosion, and therefore she can only use one explosion a day, and then is knocked off her feet and pretty much immobile for the next little while because she used up all of her power. While that is an amazing asset, it is also hilarious as hell. That is all. She's hilarious. She's a great character with amazing personality, but she only adds her individual humor to the series, which is why she makes it in 3rd place, unlike 2nd place, which is Kishibe Rohan. That's correct. Kishibe Rohan made it higher than Jotaro for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures 4th arc, and 4th season, technically, Diamonds Unbreakable. Kishibe Rohan was introduced around episode 20-ish as a bad guy. well, he was the episodic villain, and while they managed to beat him, thankfully before he actually learned how to use his powers well, because if he would have known how to use his powers well, they really would not have stood a chance. But, well, one of the reasons why I like Rohan is because aside from being the most interesting in how he defeats his opponents, aside from being the smartest among them, aside from probably Jotaro, he's serious, knows what he's doing, and pushes the story forward as a awesome support character. His personality is well defined, and he sticks to these boundaries while growing all the way. He knows what he's doing, and he does it well. I don't want to ruin anything also. I mean, it's very hard. I got a lot of spoiler complaints from one of my latest videos, the top 10 overpowered characters of 2016, and I got comments like, hello, you're saying top 10 overpowered characters? We don't want to know what their powers are. That ruins it for us who don't know. Okay, I didn't get anyone that dumb, thankfully. But, you know, it got close, so I'm being overly cautious, and therefore I'm not telling you half as much as I wanted to tell. With that out of the way, let's do first place. It's Reigen from Mob Psycho. There's so much stuff I want to tell you. But Reigen, in my personal opinion, is the greatest character in Mob Psycho and the driving force behind its awesomeness. The protagonist of Mob Psycho, Mob, otherwise known as Kageyama Shigeo, is a tremendously gifted psychic and really good at what he does. Except he doesn't really want to do it. He'd rather just be a normal, popular high school student with no powers. Seems to be a trend this season, and, you know, him and Psyche. But unfortunately, he has these powers that he must deal with. He goes to a master of psychic abilities called Reigen. Reigen has no abilities. Yep. He fools Mob beautifully into believing that Reigen is a freaking badass and he doesn't need to get his hands dirty, so Mob, why don't you take down the demons? Stuff like that, and he's a massive con artist. He's hilarious, and he is just so suave. And oh my god, I love Reigen. Everybody loves Reigen. Reigen's definitely my favorite character from Mob Psycho, and without him, I doubt I would have liked the series half as much as I actually did. So, with all that amazing stuff out of the way, I would like to say have a great evening, and let me know what other 2016 lists you want me to do before it's too late.
超能力者に対して思いっきり飛び蹴りをかますレーゲンの必殺技である。
Ciao.